Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Stuart Buckley, the Channel Sales Director here at Node4. The reason for this webinar today is that we have noticed a growing demand from our channel partners, and we're assisting their clients more and more, as the days roll on, with the growth of data, AI, and it's more prevalent in our everyday lives now with ChatGPT and Bard and Bing and everything else that's out there in the world. So today we'll delve deeper into the wider opportunity for the channel. So without further ado, I will hand over to Julian. Julian brings a wealth of experience as the director of Node4's data practice. And they'll guide us through the exciting landscape of data management, and then explain how Node4 can be a valued partner. So take it away, Julian.
Good stuff. Thanks, Stu. Great intro. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. My name's Julian Boneham. I'm the Data Practice Director within Node4. And as Stuart says, we're really keen to just articulate the growing data capability that we have within Node4. We know that these services typically are very attractive to our channel partners. So yeah, we're just going to talk through what we see in terms of the challenges that customers are facing, but equally how that fits well with our channel partner community. So, first of all, sorry, that's just not working. There we go. So, first of all, data. Everybody's talking about data. Whenever you look at LinkedIn or social media, there's an awful lot of noise around data and AI. And of course, that noise that gets amplified because of ChatGPT and LLMs and a lot of that kind of machine learning type noise that's in the marketplace at the moment. But what are the real world kind of issues that are facing your clients? Well, there's some fundamental issues that customers are dealing with. So first of all, there's this volume of data that they're now having to contend with. Data volumes are growing enormously. It used to be quite predictable and data would be gathered from ERPs or line of business applications, whereas now data is gathered from all over the place. It can come from marketing campaigns or social media posts. So that causes an impact in terms of where does that data sit and how does that get managed. There's also the different types of data. Data used to be neat and structured and would fit into rows and columns in a relational database, whereas now data comes in lots of different forms. It can be in the form of images or video files, and that drives different technology choices for our customers. There's also the speed at which data needs to be analysed. We're seeing more and more customers where they want to get a real-time view of data, and data needs to be ingested really fast, so decisions can be made in terms of how to use that data effectively. Think around retailers and what they do within peak sales periods, for example, and their need to analyse all of their data to make decisions around stock, warehousing, distribution, and so on, so they can maximise those sales opportunities. We've just completed a fascinating project with a company that's developing a flying taxi model. So their needs to ingest lots of different data sources into a data lake so that they can then analyse that data really quickly to work out safe flight patterns and so on for their business operations. It's crucial that they have that velocity of data analysis within their environment. So these opposing factors around volume, variety, velocity of data are causing an impact to all of your clients, and it's making the management of data a real key priority within their IT strategy. So what does this mean then in real terms, in terms of the actual issues then that customers are facing? Well, this explosion of data is meaning that it's difficult to get the insights out of the data. If you think around customers where they've got multiple different data sources within their environment, and how do they unpick all of the value in that data and try and create business insight from all of that data? There's also the fact that a lot of this data will be sitting in different locations. Some applications will be sitting in private infrastructure. Other applications will be in public cloud infrastructure. And we see time and time again within our end customer base where they've got some applications which are customized to their environments and they're best suited within private infrastructure. But of course, they have lots of cloud native applications as well, and they're sitting within either Azure or AWS. So More and more we're seeing that hybrid cloud model, and I think that's what we'll see for the foreseeable future, and that introduces a challenge, of course, around the management of all of those systems and the different skills needed, but also the security and compliance and governance and so on around all of those systems. Then around analytics, how does a customer try and get the insight that they need when this data is spread across multiple different parts of their organization? It's really tricky to kind of pull all of that information together into a cohesive form to get the level of business insight that's needed to try and drive decisions effectively. And then finally, it's the skills that are needed to manage all of these systems, and obviously very pertinent to all of us on this call today. It's really difficult to try and find the quality of skills for your end customers to get the full breadth of capability that they need to try and address all of these challenges. We know all too well, we've been our experience within Node4, and we've got a large data practice encompassing DBAs and data engineers and business analysts and so on, but it's really difficult to find the right caliber of expertise. It's equally really difficult to retain those skills as well, and those are all skills, all issues that our end customers, your end customers, they're all facing those challenges as well. So just looking in a bit more detail at the skills that are needed across this spectrum of data challenges that your clients are seeing. Starts with the DBA management and making sure that databases are built to best practice, that they're available, they're fully optimized. But equally, there's the data engineering skill that's then needed to create modern data platforms and data warehouses and so on, to create those data pipelines, to bring data into the right place and into the right format. That then enables the business intelligence experts to create their reporting, their analytics, and to create the business insights that your customers need to help make their business decisions. And then AI, machine learning, that's very much in vogue at the moment. That's what everybody's talking about in the context of data. But in the real world, there's some very useful applications now that customers can take advantage of from a machine learning point of view. For instance, within Power BI, there's some really smart ML functionality that's now knitted into Power BI that enables customers to start to try and get a level of predictive analysis out of their data. So this cross-section of skills that are needed, from the back-end database management through to data engineering to create the data pipelines, through to Power BI expertise for reporting analytics, and data science expertise to try and drive that machine learning point of view. There's a broad breadth of skills that are needed, which frankly all of your customers will be looking at these areas and maybe scratching their heads as to how they can start to address some of these challenges to really try and drive the value out of all of the data that's now being generated within their environments. So why do your customers look to outsource these services? Well, the beauty is that the reason for outsourcing is exactly the same as all of the services that you're already providing through to your end customers. There's a very clear economic value in terms of outsourcing these types of services. To hire in these skills internally for your end customers, it's expensive, it needs some quite broad breadth of capability, so it ends up being expensive, and as mentioned earlier, it's difficult to retain those skills often. But it's also around just improving the agility of project delivery, because often there'll be peaks and troughs of project load and so on. So there's not necessarily a need for your end customer to have a team of data experts there permanently full-time within their organization, when it may be more beneficial just to drop those resources in on a project-by-project basis to help smooth out that project load. It's also the operational opportunity just to improve the quality of service in terms of availability and performance of all of those data assets around the end customer's environment. And when a database goes down at 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning, for us to be able to then deliver that as a tight SLA-driven service, to bring that service back up, to make sure then the system's fully remediated and optimized again, that alleviates a load of pressure off the end customer's technical team so that they can then focus on the more business generative stuff around enhancing applications and doing the stuff that really drives their business forward. So those economic and operational reasons mean that these types of data services are really attractive through to your end users. And it's equally why we see our partners, our channel community, really utilising these services to help drive extra value and get more wallet share out of the end customer opportunity. So just looking in a bit more detail at the database technologies that our clients use. We do loads of stuff around SQL Server. We expect that. We've got lots of our customers and partner solutions which are very much pregnant with Microsoft technology. So whether that's SQL Server sitting in public cloud infrastructure or in private infrastructure, we do lots and lots of our SQL Server optimization work and best practice build work and so on. We also do an awful lot of Oracle work. We typically see that around larger enterprise type applications. Lots of MySQL as well, where businesses have maybe they're more sort of development centric, but they've then started to use MySQL for some production workloads. We've equally got some really useful capability around some of the NoSQL technologies as well, such as Couchbase. And whilst we appreciate there's a plethora of different database technologies out there that end customers may be using, we recognise that within where we normally operate around that mid-market, low enterprise space, which is normally where we see our partners having a sweet spot, this blend of database technology that we've got the expertise in, this normally will cover the vast majority of opportunities that we see across your end users. So got really strong capability, and the SLA is the same across all of these technologies in terms of consulting delivery and 24/7 managed service delivery. So it's a really attractive service model then to go and promote through to your end users. Also worth pointing out as well that we're, of course, ISO 27000 accredited. You'd expect that from us being an MSP, but all of the data team, the DBAs, they're all SC cleared, and equally we do a lot of work with central government organisations. We support a central bank and American pharmaceutical businesses and so on. So lots of different varying types of end customers that we look after, but all with very sensitive data requirements. We've also got some very useful capabilities around NPPV3 clearance and the operation centres being PASF audited and so on. So that security posture that we've got is very much knitted into everything that we do from a data practice delivery, which just helps overcome, which is often the very first objection that customers open up, which is around how can we ensure that we don't open up any vulnerabilities into their environments. In terms of why your end customers will need DBA services, it can start from the initial design, implementation of the database environment and making sure that that's being built to best practice. It can also relate to consolidation of environments or migration of legacy systems through to modernized platform and moving instances into Azure or AWS, for example. But also we get involved in doing lots of deep dive performance optimization work. And we see this time and time again where end customers, they've got an environment, it's grown over time, and as it's grown and data volumes have grown and application updates have gone in and so on, often systems will become suboptimal, and there's an opportunity to just improve the performance of the system, make sure that things are built to absolute best practice, and negate the need often to just keep on adding more resource or infrastructure out of that environment. So those DBA services, they're very varied, but for sure all of your end customers, and they will all have critical databases within their environments which are underpinning their key applications. There's a need for this type of DBA work on an ongoing basis within the end customers. And often it's an area that's overlooked within the end customer environment. Maybe they'll have what we would call accidental DBAs, so system administrators that have just ended up kind of picking up DBA work by default, where often there's real benefit in having that deep dive expertise around database, DBA expertise to really make sure that the databases are performing at the optimal level. From a managed service model and the way that we deliver these services out of a data practice here, we've got this consultancy capability that our partners use just to help deliver point in time, discrete consulting projects through to our end users. And exactly as was shown on that previous slide, that can be very varied. It could be a one-day engagement, it could be a 50-day engagement, but we'll pull out those requirements, we'll qualify them with you, the partner, come up with the deliverables within a statement of work, and then we deliver that as a fixed price piece of consulting work. What's interesting is how often that consulting work then necessitates the need for discussion around managed service. So when we do a good quality piece of consulting work and we shine a light on an area of optimization that can be delivered within that end customer environment, it opens up a really easy discussion around the managed service and how we can then help take on the operational control of those databases for that end customer. And it opens up the proposal that we'll then put into the customer. And very often the customer will see that as a very good value service. So using that consulting service model as kind of a Trojan horse to then open up that discussion around the managed service is really attractive. And we see that all the time with our partners that are keen to create that annuity-based managed service revenue that's then margin rich. It equally means that year on year, as that recurring revenue builds up, just builds up that margin stream, and it's predictable. It's really attractive then in terms of just that long tail of margin-rich annuity-based revenue. But it also means that we keep on then picking up additional consulting opportunities within the managed service when systems need upgrading or there's another system needs adding in, and so on and so on. We also have a benefit, of course, within Node4. We do an awful lot of platform management, and I appreciate that a lot of our partners are heavily involved in the infrastructure and management of the actual platforms of their customers as well. But from a Node4 point of view, our advantage in terms of having that peripheral capability around all of the underlying platforms, whether it's private infrastructure or public cloud infrastructure, but also their backup technologies and so on, really helps that we can create that holistic view of data performance within an end customer environment. As to the actual managed service, and when we're delivering a 24/7 managed service for our partners, the beauty of this model is that it integrates really well with the end user, of course, in terms of us having a connection through to the end user so that we can get that monitoring plugged in and get the telemetry coming back into our service desk so we can provide that level of proactive support to then remediate issues really quickly. But from a partner point of view, this service model is really attractive, particularly partners that have got an existing service desk type model, in that our service model can effectively bolt on really neatly into the partner's service desk, in that the alert comes from the end user. It can then go directly into the partner's service desk and into our service desk, so we can work in partnership to resolve those issues really quickly. So it's a really seamless service from an end customer point of view. It works really well then in terms of adding additional capability and service operational quality through to our partners. So I mentioned there all the DBA support work that we deliver, and that's a really mature service model, and we know that our partners benefit from that greatly, and we do an ever-increasing amount of that DBA type work for our partners. But our end-to-end data service model within Node4 has expanded so much over the last 18 to 24 months, where we've really done a lot of work around creating this data engineering capability so that we can help customers to build out their modern data platforms. So think around data lakes and data warehouses and so on. But equally then this analytics capability, where we've got this deep expertise around Power BI, and we're helping our customers to create these complex reporting environments so they can get the insight that they need out of all of their data. And the beauty of these services from a partner point of view is that it enables the consulting work so we can deliver those point-in-time projects, but equally that managed service so we can get that annuity-based margin thereafter from all of those options, from the database managed service, the data engineering, but also the analytics. They're all services which we can wrap up into an annualized managed service type model. Just looking at some of those areas in a bit more detail from a data engineering point of view, and this idea around creating a data lake or a modern data platform, as it's called, We do an ever-increasing amount of work around sign-ups and building these modern data platforms. A lot of your end customers will be facing this challenge around having multiple different data sets within their organization, maybe sitting within private infrastructure or public cloud infrastructure. It doesn't matter where it is, but our data engineers have been able to build these data pipelines, to build these sign-ups based data warehouses, whereby once the data is into the right storage, we can then transform that data through a process that's called a bronze, silver, and gold transformation layer, so that ultimately that gold layer data is then surfaced through to the business intelligence experts so that they can then do their work in terms of creating the visualization out of all of that data. So in terms of visualizing how beneficial that is through to a customer that's got all of these multiple different data sources to then ultimately be able to surface data for those BI experts that they know is the best quality data that they need to make their reporting decisions based upon. It's really, really valuable. Very tricky to do this in a number of years ago, where businesses would typically have to knit together lots of complex enterprise type data warehouse software, whereas now within Azure using signups, that now forms part of the Microsoft Fabric solution. It's quick, it's easy, it's cost effective to build these data platforms, but hugely beneficial through to the end user. So for any of your end customers that are facing these types of challenges of needing to try and integrate lots of different data sources, this is a really neat solution that we can then deliver from a consulting point of view, but equally then manage that from a managed service perspective. As I mentioned, the data then gets surfaced through to the Power BI experts. We've got a team of 15 just pure play Power BI experts within our data practice here. So all they do day in, day out is create beautiful reports through to end customers and via our partners. And that might be reporting off just one or two data sources and the need to just get really good quality visualization off a small set of data sources. Or it may be much larger, complex environments where the end customer's got lots and lots of different data sources and the need to then integrate from a reporting point of view. But that visualization that we can then deliver through those Power BI experts is really valuable. It's quite a new area for us in Node4. It's something that we built up over the last 18 months, but there's a huge opportunity within the end customer base to then try and leverage that capability so that we can create that visualization using Power BI. From an AI and machine learning point of view, I think there's so much hype around AI and machine learning. For all of the customers that I talk to on a day-by-day basis, I think there's quite a bit of confusion. I think a lot of end customers aren't yet quite sure how to try and benefit from machine learning because there's so much hype around it, and it's almost trying to find the best use case for machine learning. But in our world at Node4, aside of using the inbuilt capability that exists within Azure, for example, and some of that machine learning functionality, which is really powerful, we equally have a number of data scientists within our data practice, whereby they can then start to train a model whereby we pull in a load of data into the right repository, so into a data lake, into a data warehouse, and then our data scientists will effectively train a model against that data so that we can start to try and drive results that are meaningful from that data and moving the accuracy of the results from a 60, 70, 80, 90% and so on. And we've done some really interesting work in that area around revenue prediction, for example, around lots of different customers and using lots of different data points to try and get a level of predictive analysis out of data as opposed to reality, so a reactive view of data. So getting that ability for foresight as opposed to hindsight is really, really powerful using the Azure-based machine learning tools, but also the data scientists that we have within our business. So for any of your end customers that are talking about AI and machine learning, or maybe they're not sure kind of which direction to go in, that expertise that we have within Node4 may be really powerful as a door opener to then start to look at how we can leverage some of that machine learning capability but then that acts as a conduit to then how do we support the wider data infrastructure for that end customer. So to recap, in terms of the end-to-end data practice capability that we have within Node4, we've got that fantastic foundation in terms of database management, and we do that for so many customers now via our partners. It's an attractive service model, mainly because all of your end customers, they've got critical data workloads within their environments. They've got critical applications which can't go down. The need for databases to be optimized and available is crucial, and that doesn't go away, whether that's within private infrastructure or public cloud infrastructure. We've then got this model around creating data warehouses, or modern data platforms as they're now known, and a synapse-based model around creating data pipelines to get the right data into the right place and into the right format. And then it's around the business intelligence, trying to create predictive analytics out of that data. So that story from an end-to-end data practice perspective, from the back-end database through to the front-end functional view of data, it's really attractive to the end user in terms of being able to address any of those challenges that they've got, which were shown at the beginning of this deck. In terms of enabling our partners to deliver these services, we're very mindful that we need to make this easy for our partners. So we've got lots of pre-packaged information. We've got sales documents and battle cards, white papers. We've got lots of blog content that our partners are able to repurpose as well. Dawn, who's our dedicated partner marketing manager within Node4, she does a great job of working with partners to help them create marketing campaigns to try and stimulate the demand and so on within the end customer base. So got a number of pre-packaged marketing campaigns that are ready to go out whenever partners want to pick up on it. So we're really keen on helping with that sales enablement piece and driving things from a marketing perspective. We equally do an awful lot of work from a pre-sales, technical pre-sales point of view, and working with partners to help them to drive forward any opportunities that crop up. And we'll do that to the nth degree, because frankly it's to our advantage as well. Whenever a partner has an opportunity, the quicker we can help qualify that and to try and create statements of work and move that forwards into an opportunity. We find it time and time again where partners start to get some traction like that then snowballs and wider opportunities will develop going forwards. From a fact-finding point of view, I'm also very mindful for our partners and their account managers, their sales teams. If they see this as complex, it just won't progress. We'll just start to stall in terms of not pushing forwards with activities. So the beauty of the data services, I think they're actually really simple to articulate for account managers and salespeople. Just some very simple questions to their end customers around what database technologies are used and how those databases are supported, or is there a need for getting better quality analytics and business intelligence out of data. If the account managers can paint that picture across their end customer base, it'd be a wealth of information that we then collectively, between you, the partner, and us at Node4, going to help to move that conversation forward with those end customers. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll help to whatever extent is useful around the pre-sales activity for that. As a takeaway, and this is the final slide in this deck, and I'm mindful of time, but as a takeaway from this presentation, we're really keen to give you, the partner, something but tangible that you can then move forwards from an end customer point of view, particularly if you're not yet using the data services from Node4 within your end users. So we deliver lots of performance health checks and reviews for customers, and as I mentioned earlier, that's often a really good Trojan horse to then just open up a wider opportunity with the end customer. So we'd like to offer a reduced price health check, £995, very simple. We normally spend 3 days on this, so it's normally considerably more than that in cost, of course, but we'll go into the customer environment, we'll review a critical SQL instance for them or critical Oracle database, and we'll have a senior DBA who will create a report and then put all the recommendations into a RAG status type report. And crucially, that will include all of the remediation recommendations for those issues that we find. And then we'll review that report with the end customer. And normally that will result in us working with you and the end customer to do that remediation work. And as I mentioned earlier, that opens up the door for the discussion around the ongoing managed service. So it's a really neat way to start promoting these services if you're not yet doing so through to your end users, just showing that quality of service through to the end customer. We are not putting a time limit on when this can be used by the partner, but the only thing is we'd restrict it to say 3 opportunities, 3 end users per partner, just so that we're not doing this for forever and a day, but as a way to just kick things off and to get things moving with our partners. It's worked well in the past with other partners, so we'd like to continue that through as part of this this webinar. So in terms of the deck, that was all I wanted to run through in terms of a quick overview around our full data practice and that capability we have from back-end database expertise through to creating data warehouses, through to the front-end functional value that we can help customers derive from all of their data. We're really keen to explore the opportunities with you, our partners, because we know that you're dealing with a wide range of different end users, of course, but they will all have that common thread in terms of the needs for performance optimization of data within their environment. So yeah, we'd welcome, as a result of this webinar, and if you can talk to your account managers, and maybe we have a separate session just to look at any specific areas where we may be able to help or explore opportunities for maybe doing some marketing with to help stimulate some demand. We would absolutely welcome that. So Sean or Stu, I don't know if there have been any questions that have come through during the course of this. Sean, I think you're just on mute if you're speaking.
Sorry, I was just saying in the interim while I just check if we've got any questions, I'm just going to post our feedback link, so we do appreciate any feedback from the session, so if you could do that, that would be great, thank you. So I've got a few questions that have come in. One of them is, what are the typical results from the health check?
Okay, they can be varied, of course, because it depends on the size and type of environment that we're working with. But in my experience, and we do a lot of these types of performance health checks, there's never an environment we go into where we don't find something that makes a material improvement for that end customer environment. And that's why it's so valuable. That's why customers really, and partners really like that type of health check model, because it's tangible. It gives something for the customer that gives them a blueprint in terms of optimizing their systems. And by virtue of then doing that work and remediating those systems, the customer sees a tangible benefit in terms of the performance optimization and performance of their applications and so on. So we've then got a great kind of jump off point with our partners to then go and explore what else we can do with that customer around management of either their databases or helping to look at creating data platforms and so on.
Thank you. And I've got another one. My team don't have experience in selling data-focused services. What level of support will they get from Node4?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we'll help to whatever degree is useful for our partners, and we work with partners of all different shapes and size, and some have a large team of account managers that are selling multiple different managed services already into their end users. We've got other partners where they're much more focused around just a specific solution set, or maybe they're an ISV just within their tight focus around their application. But within all of those partners, we'll help from, as I mentioned earlier, from a marketing point of view in helping to stimulate that demand. We'll also help with any of the pre-sales activities in helping to qualify the opportunities with the end customer and helping them to create the proposals, the statements of work. So we'll effectively help with all of that selling activity. We'll equally help with any of the queries then that come back from the end customer, and the account management team that work with Stu Buckley. They're very proactive. They're really keen to help partners to really kind of drive the most opportunity and get the most wallet share that they can out of the end customers. So it's a very mature kind of partner sales and an operational model that we have within Node4. And I think from a data point of view, it's just an opportunity to do lots more of these data services with our partners, just because of the attractiveness of this service model to frankly lots of different end users, where they're either small end users or large end users. They will all have these challenges around data optimization.
And then the final one from me is, what level of margin are partners able to make on reselling the Node4 data services?
Yeah, good. Well, it varies, of course, from a partner point of view. We as an organisation at Node4, we would never get involved in the commercial negotiation with the end customer. So our pricing structure is, we will deliver a service and then deliver that to the partner. We discount our costings, of course, to the partner so that it enables the partner to be competitive and to add an appropriate level of margin. But as a rule of thumb, we would normally expect our partners to be making 20% on top of reselling our services. I know from experience we've got other partners that will make considerably more than that. So it's entirely at the discretion of the partner. So from a consulting point of view, that's just a straight add-on. Equally from a managed service, the beauty of a managed service, of course, is that within that annuity-based managed service, the partner then gets that ongoing margin for the life of that contract. So sell it once at the front, but then it's effectively just a continuation of margin stream that runs for the duration of that contract. So it's an attractive model from a partner perspective. Yeah, final word for me is just, thank you all for everybody's time on this hot June morning. And as I said, we'd absolutely welcome any follow-up discussions as you think appropriate. Please reach out to any of us within Node4. We're happy to pick up a separate session to explore these data services in a bit more detail if and when appropriate. Thanks all for your time.
Thanks, everyone.